Good morning, guys. Welcome to another episode of the Our Success Podcast. The amount of feedback we've gotten so far has been incredible, and every single day that goes by, we try to bring on better and better guests so that way we can build that much value into our time with each other. Today, I've got Aaron Christensen from Christensen Automotive with us. How you doing, Aaron? Thanks for being here.
Hey, good morning. How are you doing?
Incredibly magnificent. They feel very blessed to be in America in 2020. Can't complain, even if I tried to, you know?
I know exactly how you feel.
Thank you, sir.
So, same way for us, too. So
totally, for sure. We're going to get into that. Aaron, we're going to talk about leadership today because based on everything I understand, correct me if I'm wrong, you've been an serial entrepreneur majority of your life. You're a veteran. You guys have 5 branches. You have all kinds of employees, mid-tier management, upper-tier management, and obviously hands on the keyboard is what we call them in the industry, right? I'm guessing you guys call them hands on the engine.
Yeah, I guess you could go with that.
So we want to talk a lot. First, I want to talk about leadership because obviously things have changed, and I want to understand your guys' mindset. Given everything that's going on, what's your leadership style, and has that changed? Are you more motivational? Are you a little bit harder on people now? Are you easier, or how do you guys approach leadership today?
So for us, with everything that's going on, the thing that we have always done is we've always empowered our people. Okay. So whether it's the lowest tiered guy, the guy on the bottom of the bracket, or the guy doing oil changes and stuff like that, but he serves a very, very important role also. Mm-hmm. So we treating everybody the same from the bottom to the top, or one side to the other, however you want to look at it, is as things started kicking off and everything started kind of contracting and people were getting told they can't go outside and everybody's kind of this big state of uncertainty. Mm-hmm. For us, it was everything that we've always ingrained into our employees was stay positive, keep a smile on your face. Right. Everybody's still breathing. Everybody's, nobody got sick or anything, right. Knock on wood, but it's coming from the top down. It's one of those keeping everybody with the right mindset of it's okay because, if you think about it, if I would have went in there and started freaking out, oh my gosh, we can't go to the grocery store, I don't have any toilet paper, right. With that negative vibe, then that's going to spread like wildfire. So it's just the leadership aspect of it is always keeping that positive outlook on everything's going to be okay. We're going to get through this. We've been through worse times before. This is just different. This is a different scenario, but everybody's going to be stronger on the backside of this.
For sure. You and Andrew, your COO, have always been positive. I'm curious, how does your leadership style change between, before COVID-19 until after COVID-19? Are you guys doing anything differently?
If anything, we're being more positive. I mean, and it just not letting people get sucked in by, because we get inundated 24/7 with the news cycle. Right. And so it's hard for a lot of people to process all of that. And then you come to work and, we're coming in going, it's a great day. It's a great day. And they're going, did you watch the news this morning? And I'm like, no, I didn't watch the news this morning, which I did. But, it's like, I can't let that affect my day because it's, us being in the industry that we're in, it's a critical or an essential industry because people still need to travel around, people still need to go to work for the other essential jobs. Mm-hmm. People need to go to the grocery store to provide food for their families. People need to go, or get out of their house to go on a hike. So having their car and they know their car's working, or if they have stuff that comes up, we're there for them. And then having that mindset of when you first walk into the business, if you see smiling, happy faces, right. Hey, it's okay. We're going to take care of your car.
For sure.
How's everything else going? Another thing that we did when everything first kicked off, we started calling our customers, and we said, "Is there anything we can do for you?" Kind of how you always ask that question, "What can I do for you?" And that's kind of the same thing that same approach is, "What can we do for you today? Do you need your refrigerator moved? We'll find a way to help you out."
Right. That speaks a lot of volumes about who you are as a character. Now, because of your background in the military, how much of this leadership style do you attribute to your experience?
I would say quite a bit of it. It was, I mean, the military side is a foundational aspect for me. Is and that's because as you get put in stressful situations, you're going to revert back to your quote unquote training.
Right.
So coming for me was coming from a flying background. So you're flying around in airplanes. Is if something goes on, your brain automatically is going to switch to that training.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the same thing with leadership. A lot of people read all these books and stuff like that about there's a lot of different great leadership books out there, and there's a lot of, if you go out and you're reading like 3 or 4 of them at the same time, then the messages are going to start kind of confusing you.
Right.
And so it's just going to be white noise at that point.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going back when everything's hitting the fan. It's going back to that foundational training of, okay, if I start freaking out, everybody else is going to freak out underneath me. I need to keep calm, cool, and collected. And if I need to have a moment where I need to just let loose, then I'm going to shut my door to my office. I'm going to bring in my close inner circle.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to all let loose for a little bit, and then at the end of the day is, guess what? We still have the same problems in front of us.
Totally. Let's dissect that a little bit more, because guys, you're the ones who are out there listening to this. Some of you are small business owners and you have 10, 20, 50 employees. Some of you are in multi-layer marketing companies, right? So you have other associates with you. And also there are some of you that may not even have employees, and you say, hey, how do I attach myself to these concepts? The truth of the matter is that if you're running a household, if you have brothers, sisters, or a child, at the end of the day, you still have to have the same leadership skills as well, right? So I got to ask you, behind the scenes, as a leader, sometimes you have to freak out yourself too. But to your point, you can't necessarily show that to other people. And I want to ask you about how you hide that, or how do you overcome that. But before I do that, allow me to tell you a little story that my father used to tell me all the time. He used to say that there used to be this pirate or just general on a ship, and every time he would basically see another ship coming by to attack them, he would always tell his associate, hey, go grab my red shirt, right? And at some point, the associate asked him, he's like, why do you want to wear a red shirt every time we get into battle? He said something like, well, because if I get hit, I don't want my comrades to see me bleeding, right? So at some point, there's multiple ships coming towards them, or there's a huge ship coming towards them, and the general looks at the associate and says, hey, kiddo, go get my brown pants. So I guess in a way, obviously that's a joke, but this is, I guess, something that you and I have to deal with too, as human beings, as biologically still speaking, we still have anxiety, right? So how do you make sure your anxiety doesn't transfer over to your leadership style or your employees while you still allow yourself to be a human being?
So, for me personally, it's, I look at it as, I go, okay, what am I going to be able to affect today? And if it's something where it's so overwhelming, then I'm going to kind of pull back a little bit, and then think about the situation, bring in my really close team. And this could be the same thing as for a normal person that doesn't have a business, could be your spouse, your significant other,
your best friend,
really close, a longtime friend, and then you don't come in a hysterical type of fashion, but you come in with write stuff down before you get to it, and then you go, help me think about X, Y, and Z. We got to push through these different pain points, and how are we going to get through them? I need your help, and it's okay to ask for help. And I think you've said that a couple of times, is don't be afraid to ask for help, and that goes with anything.
Totally.
That's beyond business. But it's the same thing I tell my 8-year-old son. If you need, he was trying to put some dishes away last night, and I'm sitting in the living room and I'm watching him, and he's struggling, and he's making noises and kind of grunting a little bit, and I just looked at him and I go, "Are you okay?" And he's like, "Yeah," and I said, "Just take a deep breath and you'll figure it out." So he takes dramatic, and then the cups kind of collapse back down, and he can shut the drawer to the where the cups go in, and I go, "Better?" He goes, "Yep," and I go, "That's it." Sometimes you just need to have a moment to yourself, but sometimes it's nice to have that person that's next to you go, "Are you okay?" "Yes." "Okay, cool. Let's move forward."
I love that, man. I think you can know yourself as well as you can know, but unless you have that good friend, that mentor, that leader that can act like a mirror. I mean, unless you have a mirror, you just no way you can look at yourself, right? And I love that a lot. So, are there exercises or routines that you do for yourself to keep your mind more positive?
So for what I've been doing a lot lately, because I drive, because we obviously, you mentioned that we have the 5 locations, so I drive around a lot, quite a bit. So, especially now is putting my face out in front of the company going, hey, guys, don't be scared. I'm out here with you too. But for me is I've been listening to a lot of audiobooks. Like I'm listening to one with Steve Jobs right now. It's like 25 hours on the audiobook, but so I'm like, well, instead of just sitting there listening to music the whole time, so I'm like,
Right.
it's helping me, but I get different ideas as I hear things in the book, and obviously the book's not going to influence me in such a way where I'm going to go make Apple computers, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But it's listening to the principles of what's going on in his life at that particular time, and then I always have. I always carry my pen right here in my shirt, so I got it right here.
Mm-hmm.
And then I always have a notebook in my truck, so I can just jot down a couple quick notes as I hear something. So it's not going to fit, obviously if it's like, if I'm in traffic, I won't do it, but it's a mental jog for me to go back, and I can go back and revisit whatever he was saying at that point. And then I can attribute that to a situation that we're having with the business, or that I'm having with somebody who works underneath me, or a business partner, or a person that we do business with. So it helps me get through those situations to go, hey, I remember a situation where, yes, Steve Jobs, obviously he's not around anymore, but, it's a great book. And it goes into a lot of history of how he worked through a lot of different problems.
Absolutely.
And it's just finding those little common pieces that you can equate to your life.
For sure. I love that. So one of your tactics is listening to other inspiring people and make sure you have clarity on your mind and to keep it positive.
Yep.
Any other things that you do on a regular basis to help your mindsets?
Well, like you just mentioned it, the mentors, go out, it's finding good mentors. And that's a hard thing to do, because you got to really find somebody who attracts you and embodies the same values as you. Because if you find, like somebody like Steve Jobs, I don't necessarily connect with Steve Jobs obviously he's not alive, but I don't connect with him to the point, because he was a very eccentric person.
Right, for sure.
So, and I'm not quite in that, in that space, right. But, there's a couple guys that are really successful business people that have, the one guy, he rang the New York Stock Exchange when he was 29 years old. The Bell. And so, he's somebody that I've been communicating with a lot lately, and it's just little snippets of this or that, just little things here and there, just to kind of get me past my mental block. It's like, almost like writer's block.
For sure.
So 100%. It's just getting past that little mental block of what's going on right now, but being able to compartmentalize everything too.
I love it. I love it. These are very tangible stuff, and I really agree with you. I think a lot of people can apply this to them. My last question on the same topic, because it's not very easy to find mentors, are there specific ways that you've tried in the past to find a mentor that you think might be useful to other people listening to this right now? I've really started in like I was just saying with the audiobooks. Like, I just got done with one. It was Michael Gerber. He has a book called E-Myth, and he talks about that's a great book. And I got turned on to that book by another business colleague of mine. And so that book really resonated with me. So then if something really resonates with me, then I'll start researching it, going, okay, who is this Michael Gerber guy? Right. What else has he done? What other bits of information? And then, so the other great thing that we have these days that we didn't necessarily have 10 years ago was you got Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. I had a problem with our bank that we do with the business accounts with. Mm-hmm. So I reached out to the CEO of the bank. And this is a huge, huge, huge bank, a nationwide bank. And guess what? He sent me a message back, whether it was him or not, but I still got a message back, and it kind of answered the question that I had that I wasn't getting answered at the local level. For sure.
So, but I was just the point of my frustration going, okay, I'm going to see what happens.
Totally.
But even just sending the message, and it was, I took time to send it though too. It wasn't, profanity laced or anything like that. Sure. It was just, this is very frustrating to me. This is, why can't we work past this? These are the roadblocks. Can you provide me more clarity? And that's kind of how the message was. And just sending the message, even though I didn't think that he was going to read it or somebody in his close circle was going to read it, it still got read and responded to. It was, it was a response. But I just felt even that much better afterwards after sending it.
It's astonishing how well social media sometimes works. In the past, when we've had some issues with some big major corporations, even one time in one case, it was a publicly traded corporation, and we started tweeting at them because we just could not get through. And some of these tech companies, as you know, there's no phone number, there's no customer service, right? So after sending multiple emails, we got frustrated as we tweeted at them, and funny enough, they actually got back to us, which was really astonishing. And I remember I had just gotten into town in Reno, and I was just kind of trying to figure out who's who, which way is north, which way is south. I turned on the local station, or the TV station, and Christensen automotive commercials were always on, right? And one day I'm just going through my feed, and I says, new message request. I'm like, I wonder who that is. And there's this guy named Aaron, and it says Aaron Christensen, and it says, Ash, I see you're new in town. What are you doing? Who are you? And I looked at him and was like, oh, that's Aaron, the CEO of Christensen Automotive. He's a big deal. I need to get back to this guy immediately. And I love the fact that we can communicate like that. And guys, for you who are listening, here's one of my strategies for finding good mentors. Look up the hashtags that resonate with you or have something to do with your specific industry, right? For example, if I'm a mechanic, I'm going to look up hashtag mechanic, and I'm going to look at the top posts. You start following those people and you start turning on your notifications. For the next 2 to 3 months, every single time they post something, I want you to be the first person, at least one of the first people to like and comment on there with something positive. After you do that for 2 or 3 months, I promise you that person is going to know who you are, at least remotely. There's even a chance they might even look at your profile, right? From that point on, if you see it fit, you send a very nice message saying how much you appreciate the fact that they're putting out content, how much you appreciate their, remote leadership and remote mentorship on you, and you ask them, hey, I don't mean to bother you at all. If you would be so kind to be my mentor, all I need is probably 1 hour, maybe even less, of your time per month. Can I just possibly call you once a month, ask you some questions? So look up the hashtag that resonate with you, whether you're a photographer, videographer, hairdresser, whoever you are. Look up those hashtags and start connecting with people that resonate with you. Fair enough?
That's great. And then the other thing I wanted to add into that too, that one of my mentors has always said is intentionality. Have intentionality with your questions, because especially if it's somebody that has a big following, the more clarity, intentionality that you have with your questions to those type of people, the more that you're going to get responses back from those people. Because it's, I love your work. Yeah, they'll like it back. Thank you. I appreciate it. But hey, I love your work. But, I've been trying to do this with my camera filters and this and that, and I just can't really seem to get what you do. Maybe if I can get 5 minutes of your time so you can kind of help me get past this little. That's the kind of intentionality for if, in the photography space or something like that.
I love that. If you don't mind, Aaron, let's switch gears. When you and I were talking offline, you said there's a possibility, it's actually a good possibility that certain businesses can thrive through tough times. I think you called it thriving through turbulent times, and I really like those 3 T's. Explain that to me, because a lot of people are looking around like, man, business is changing forever. Nobody is making it. What is it, like 30 million people are on unemployment. The world is melting down. But earlier this week, I was talking to somebody their business is up 50% since January, right? So explain that concept to me. Where's your head at?
So, what I kind of always equate it to is, thriving in turbulent times. Is you think about when you're flying in an airplane. You got your, the flight attendants are coming by. You just got your, your nice coffee, and you're sitting there. You're comfy. You're just getting comfortable, and the plane just kind of goes, and everybody tenses up.
Right.
So it's that initial tense up that okay, what's going on? Because it's outside of your realm of control.
Mm-hmm.
Just like this whole virus thing going around, it's outside the realm of our control. So that's the plane's shaking a little bit, and they might be putting the drink carts away and going, okay, we're gonna need to buckle. The captain just came up and said, okay, guys, you need to buckle up because it's gonna get a little rough up here. So you can sit there and you can freak out about the turbulence that you're about ready to fly through, or you can just accept the fact that it's going to be turbulent and figure out a way to get through the turbulence. So, like for us, like what I just was referring to was, yes, our business, our customer traffic fell off probably 30-40% in some of our stores. So, what did we do? We started calling our customers. Nobody does that. So we started calling saying, hey, how are you? Oh, thank you so much for calling me. We're good. Hey, I know you guys aren't probably driving your car very much, but what you should do? Just go out there and start your car at least once a week. Maybe take it around the block, let it warm up, keep the battery fresh and all that stuff so you don't have troubles when we can start going back outside.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, I didn't even think about that. Thank you so much. And that's it. I'm not looking for dollars from you right now. I want to make sure, because my general mission is, when somebody brings me a problem, my general mission is to fix the problem.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so obviously it just happens to be in the car space, repairing cars. So going through these turbulent times is finding different ways to get through the turbulence. So like you said, I've heard many stories too with people, they're like, my business is booming right now. Because what I did was I didn't focus on CNN or Fox News or whatever and the 24-hour news cycle. It was just, oh my gosh, it's the end of the world, and now there's these big, huge wasps flying around, these hornets flying around, and then it's there's always the next thing. The news is always going to find the next thing to sell programming, and that's really what we're doing, is they're selling ad space. So just kind of tune it out, pay attention to it to see what's going on in the world, but tune that part out. Get through the turbulence by putting your head to the grindstone, figuring out new ways to do business. I have one of my managers, he's been in this industry for about 30 years. Mm-hmm. And we had we had quite a few meetings, on Saturdays where we could sit down. There's no customers coming in or anything like that. We'd sit down and we'd talk about things. We'd go over all of our numbers and different, key performance indicators that we have in our business. And one of my managers, he goes, I'm doing things that I've never done in 30 years to get through this. And his whole entire demeanor, because, he's very good at what he does, but just to hear somebody to say that is very good at what they do, to say, I'm doing things that I haven't done in 30 years. Like calling customers. Typical in our business is people call us. We don't call you.
Right.
Especially if you don't have a need. We're there as kind of as needed, but it changed that space. Right. So it helped us get through the rough times, because there were some people who were like, oh, I didn't even know you guys were open. And I'm like, even after all the advertising we do, people still don't see it. So they go, we don't even know you're open. Thank you so much for being open, and we're going to come down because we get a couple things that now's the perfect time to get them taken care of, because we don't need both cars right now.
For sure. So certain people are out there right now, they're listening to this and they're thinking to themselves, okay, I do have a small business. Either I'm an insurance agent, just an independent insurance agent, or I'm a financial advisor, or I have a hair salon, or whatever the case may be, right? Do you have any specific advice for them as far as how they can get through this time, these turbulent times, or by the time everything opens back up, they're ready for it? I know you said call your customers right now, check in with them. Any other additional stuff?
Yeah, that's the biggest one, is going to be keeping communication. Communication is, if you feel like you're over communicating, you're not communicating enough. Keep talking.
I love that.
Keep talking to your customers, because your customers need to know that you're going to be there for when. So like you said, a hairstylist or something like that. Obviously they can't be open because the governor said that they can't be open.
Right.
But if you go through your customer list and say, hey, just so you know, hey, let's get you on the schedule. Let's get my schedule going. It's going to open sooner or later.
Sure.
And you want to be ahead. And the other thing too is, put yourself, if you have a small business or any sort of business, put yourself in a position to come out of this ahead. So that's like I was listening to somebody talk the other day, and he was talking to somebody who was in like HVAC or something like that. Mm-hmm. And he goes, here's what refrigerators and stuff like that. Refrigerators still need to be serviced. Commercial refrigerators still need to be serviced. All that stuff that these restaurants and stuff like that, even though they're kind of open but not really open, now's the time to get in there, get the maintenance, because I guarantee you right now, if somebody's not happy with their service, if you got a cold call from somebody, if you were a restaurant and you said, hey, this is so-and-so from Steve's HVAC service. Mm-hmm. I just want to let you know that I'm here to serve you, and I don't know how your service has been going, but I just want to let you know that I have 5 guys on the standby to be there for you if you ever have any needs, because I know these are tough times. And just letting people know that you're there, because you just called Joe's restaurant, right, and they might go, you know what? I've been waiting for a call back from my normal HVAC guy. Yes, I need you down here for my maintenance because I need to get that done still. Can you get a guy down here tomorrow? You got it. We'll be down there tomorrow. And that's getting ahead of, and there's nothing wrong with going out and doing that, because it's survivability of your business at this point, and it's keeping the people that you employ at work.
Totally. I love that, man. And I really love that. And I hope this resonates with you guys out there as well, because your plumbing does not care if there's COVID-19 or H1N1. You know, if your plumbing is out, your plumbing is out. If your hair is growing, your hair is growing, and you need a cut. Now, maybe you can't do it today, but you can repurpose some of that stuff. I love what you said, Aaron. I think calling and touching base with you, because you guys have been calling me, I have a couple of cars for you. As soon as this whole damn thing opens up, my batteries have been dying because I am the one that actually did not listen to what you guys recommended. I didn't go out there turning on my car until one day I went out there. I was like, oh, yeah, I should probably do that. And, you know, it just wasn't turning back on. So I wait for that call from me, or wait for me to roll through one of you guys' shops. I'll definitely come by and see you very soon. As closing statement, do you have any other last-minute thoughts for our audience?
Yeah, the biggest thing is just keeping the positivity going. You know, that's the one thing that we can do as humans for each other, is that's free. That doesn't cost anything. And so, you know, if you see your neighbor, a coworker, an associate, or anybody, you know, watch their social media. Everybody's on social media right now anyway. If they're posting negative stuff, then reach out to them and just say, hey, how are you doing? Just ask them the questions. Just like you do this all the time. You go, how can I help you today? And it's not that you're trying to, you know, you're not doing it. You're just genuinely asking, saying, if you need help, then I would love to maybe be of service to you. And it's just, but if you keep that positivity going, and that the positive frame of mind, that's the stuff that's going to help everybody get through this situation that we're all facing together, because this isn't discriminatory towards anybody. It's the government said stay inside, and guess what? We got to stay inside as much as we can. You know, we can't go out and enjoy each other's company at a restaurant. We can't have large gatherings at our homes, you know, with the neighborhood. And so that's the thing, is make the little efforts of keeping in communication with the positive outlook that this is going to be over one day, and we can get back to that, hopefully, sense of normalcy that we had before.
100%. Something I bring up all the time is that we're living through World War II right now. We're living through the Civil War, but you know at some point it's going to be over. As bad as it sounded at the time, it's going to be over. So make sure you're doing favors for other people, because in a normal circumstance, you want a lot of people owing you versus you owing other people. If other people owe you a lot more, at some point some of these seeds are going to come to fruition, and you're actually going to benefit from it. Now, sir, you know I always ask this, but now I have to ask you a lot harder, because you've spent so much time with us, and obviously you're a high caliber entrepreneur. The fact that you take time out of your very precious day to spend with us and educate us means a lot to me. What can I do for you personally, or what can our tribe do to at least show you a little bit of our gratitude to Christensen Automotive?
Just keep pushing the positive message that you guys are doing. I love it. You especially have this great outlook, and that's, you know, when kind of going back to when we first started talking, you and I, is that's when I reached out to you. Was I just wanted to find out what you were about. I wanted to know about you. I didn't want, it was just, I was curious, and that was the intentionality of getting to know who you are and what your mission is. And our first meeting that we had together down at the shop we had a lot of great information exchange from both parties, from Absolutely. You and I. But keep doing what you're doing, keep pushing that positive message, and keep people engaged in, that positivity, keeping smiles in people's faces. And that's, for me, that's what and I'm going to help you do that too.
You're an amazing.
Keep that positivity going.
You're an amazing soldier, guys. Thank you for that. Guys, for you who are listening to this, I want you to pay close attention. If you don't like the post from other people, if you don't like the news, guess what you can do? Look at the post that nature is putting out there for you. Look at the news everything else is putting out there for you. Because yes, the virtual world might be trembling a little bit, but the truth of the matter is, if you ask Mother Earth, how you doing? She's happy. She's lovely. You ask every tree, how's your day today going? I know that sounds a little crazy, but the truth of the matter is that you have a brain, and this brain focuses on two kind of chemicals, right? Right now, the chemical that's being produced a lot more is the chemical of anxiety, right? So what we have to do is make sure we help our brain produce something a little bit more positive, right? And if that's the case, then what am I going to do? How am I going to do this a little bit better, right? And how I do it, I always reflect back on nature. Because Mother Earth is still rotating at the perfect speed, right? And Mother Nature is still doing everything it's supposed to be doing. Truckee River has never been more beautiful than it is right now, right? So a lot of good things are happening. If you don't like CNN or what they're saying, if you don't like Fox News or what the media is saying, start paying attention to other things that help you get there. Brother, thank you very much for always being there for us. You're a genuine human from the core of yourself, and the fact that you're a veteran and somebody like myself, I owe you truly my entire life and freedom. I really sincerely, from the bottom of my heart, I wish I had words enough so you can understand how I feel about you guys internally, but I guess we have to just do with the sounds I can make through these couple of little muscles over here. So thank you from the bottom of my heart for everything.
Thank you.
Definitely.
We appreciate it.
100%. Take care, okay?
You too. Thank you.
Tribe, if you hear something from us that resonates with you, please share it with other people. Talk about it. Don't keep it just to yourself. Conversation creates more education. And also, always fact check everything you hear. So hopefully this creates more education for you, more conversation. Talk to each other, talk to your family, talk to your friends about it, and we will see you next time.